Welcome back, everybody, to the North American Strikers League. We are passing off the cast now to myself and Team Name for Saya's own Borg. Borg, how are you doing on this Saturday afternoon?
Honestly, we took a loss, but I'm doing pretty great. I'm glad to be on the casting desk, especially here with you, Gordo. I'm excited to cast with you here, and I'm even more excited to check out these upcoming games.
Yeah, gonna be a fun one here. First time for the duo, and first time checking out this matchup between PP Legends and Core Overflow. So some opposite sides of the standings here. Core Overflow sitting firmly in second place, 2-0-0 on their record. PP Legends kind of still crawling back into it here. They are in 8th place at a 0-0-2 record right now. So really looking to try to turn their season around.
Yeah, honestly, me as a player, I actually really like PPL. I'm kind of sad. I think they've had a pretty hard schedule so far, so I do think they are going to be taking some games. We'll have to see if it's today or not, because, Core Overflow, like you said, they're playing incredibly well recently. They've barely, have had any goals even scored on them. So we'll have to see if they have it in them, but if they are, the people I'd say to look out for today are Maddie. Maddie's probably one of the best Kais in the region, and probably one of the best controller players right next to Boo 20K. So that's a little known fact, by the way. He plays controller, so any controller players out there, there is hope for you. You can be as good as Maddie. And then on the side of Core Overflow, obviously, I mean, the person I'm going to look out for is Elo Heaven. I mean, this guy is a demon. I don't know if, when I play with him in solo queue, it's like he can play any character he wants. He can play any role he wants, goalie, midfield, forward. Like, this guy is an absolute demon. So I expect both these players to be playing incredibly well.
Yeah, absolutely. If you check out that Core Strike, GG Elo has been playing a whole bunch of different characters in there, more than most that we do find at that higher echelon of play, and sitting in there firmly in the top 30. He is keeping that super high rank while flexing between all these different characters. So definitely a player to be respected as we are starting to get into the map for this first game here. Looks like it is going to be Demon Days.
It is, yes. So I'm expecting a lot of aggression here, Gordo. A lot of aggression. This map is known for just kill, 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 right? A lot of comps on this map, a lot of characters are all just very, very good. Basically, the reason that it works is because the map is so cluttered and so close because of how big the goal barrier is and how centralized it is. So I'm expecting to see possibly Julie, Zentaro, possibly a lot of Vice. We'll have to see what they bring out. Maybe, I believe it was actually an Amy and a Kai ban there, if I just saw that correctly. So won't be seeing any of them. Oh, and there's a Centauro lock right there.
Yeah, so that Kai you were talking about that was going to be so important there for PP Legends and for Maddie not going to be available here, at least in this first round, as we're starting to get into the picks here. We do see the Zentaro come through. We do see the Estelle coming through. That's going to be the backup goalie here for Elo Heaven, potentially. Or, sorry, for Maddie.
It's for sure. Maddie, yeah. So Maddie, I have seen a little bit of it. I think his Estelle is fairly good, and wow, Core Overflow's comp is triple melee. So I'm not surprised. I'm actually incredibly happy they're going to be showing it off here, but we'll have to see how it works out for him. But I'm assuming it's going to be the Rasmus goalie.
Yeah, it could also... Yeah, it does look like it is going to be the Rasmus goalie. That is going to be Streak here. Piloting that one, he traditionally is on that goalie duty here for the side of Core Overflow. We're going to get onto the court here for the first round. Immediately, a lot of damage coming through onto Fiery. Streak maybe going to let this one in, but does catch it on the backside. It's going to be one barrier down, though, from Average Alex.
Yeah, and if you actually took a look at the trainings there, we might have to see it again here in the set when it ends, but if you look at the gear, both forwards on Core Overflow side took Siphoning Wand. And if you don't know what Siphoning Wand does, you basically are taking 4%, I believe, is what the damage is every single time you take a hit against someone who has Siphoning Wand, and the person with the Siphoning Wand is healing all of that back. So, very, very heavy damage. As we're seeing here, I mean, it's just a slaughter.
Yeah, and freshly nerfed, but still pretty powerful here in that Siphoning Wand. So it used to be 5%, now down to 4. That's going to be a KO picked up by Elo Heaven there in the goal. And now with this numbers advantage, Streak ready to move up, looking for the pendulum swing. Can't quite knock it in, but it's going to pass it up to Elo Heaven. And that's going to be the first goal of the set for Core Overflow.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a matter of time, Gordo, until they just scored there. All it really took there was just waiting for Elo to put it in. And we can see the trainings here. There's Agility Spark for Fiery and Elo, so that we could definitely see a couple Mayors this game, and then Rapid Fire for the second one.
Yeah, Rapid Fire going to be the choice for most. You don't want to be contesting your own teammates for those sparks if you can avoid it. That's going to be a KO, though, super early here by PP Legends, and now they might get a chance to get themselves back into it. That's a second one for the other side now, picked up by Elo Heaven, using that core flip, pick up the KO. And now 2v2 on the map, now going to be 3-on-2 into Overflow, coming out of the respawn, looking to provide this pressure, looking to take down the barriers. Is going to actually come back over, though. Average Alex just nudging that one in.
Yeah, and I mean, you might think it might have been a little fluke KO there, but I do think that with Era Tornado and a Juliet, who actually has pummelers, by the way, you can find a lot of those kills on the side of PPL, so don't count them out yet. They might be losing in the damage war, but they do have an Estelle goalie, and, you know, they have time to scale. So definitely not counting them out here. Just core overflow is going to be so much pressure out on the field, so we're going to have to see how PPL deals with it so far.
Ooh, Streak nearly letting that one in, but does manage to knock it up, volley it back and forth to himself, and they keep it safe. Kills now for both sides, as it is going to be a 2 versus 2 on the map, trying to knock it back over here. But Average Alex playing aggressively, moving up to Streak 1-on-1. Going to get passed over to Int Overflow, though. They're going to move it back over to the blue side of the map. Elo Heaven back on the board, as well as Maddie. They are going to look to see who is going to be able to score this first goal. Both barriers still up now for the PB Legends side. Make that only one, so they do manage to knock it in, and Int Overflow going to step up here, see what he can find. Getting fiery very low. There's the hook. Ooh, there is the KO from Streak. And now the flip, though, going to be enough for Average Alex. Ties it up at 1-1.
Yeah, that was a beautiful core flip by Average Alex there. I mean, you just saw, actually, you know, core overflow was struggling to keep pressure up. I think after that first KO, they were struggling to really get their feet in the water, you know, like kind of keep it in. It looked like they had a breath of fresh air there once they got that KO, or Streak got that KO on Fiery, but Average Alex just bails them out there with a beautiful core flip.
Abuse coming into Average Alex, though, to start off this round number 3. They're going to KO him super fast. Streak, you saw, was just sitting on the core to buy that space and time to continue keeping the pressure onto the Era. Much squishier than a lot of the others, but they're going to return with a KO of their own, and now a numbers advantage here for the PP Legends side, trying to take it back up, move up to 2-1. Going to be only one barrier taken in all of that chaos, and it was on the side of PP Legends. Now going to be 1-1 here, going into the Oni's Blade. Into Overflow picks up another KO up there on the top last zone. Now moving down to Elo Heaven. They've got the numbers advantage, and every time this happens, you can see Streak right out of the goalie's box, looking to try to punch it in just that last little bit, passing it up with the whiplash, down to Into Overflow. Elo Heaven wants to smack it in, but the flip is going to clear it back over to the other side. And now 2 elusive members going to not be able to do anything to stop that core from coming in, but they knock it off the top side, and Int Overflow gets it in there.
That was an absolutely beautiful secondary by Int Overflow there. And just, honestly, like I said, the same with the first point. It was just a matter of time until they scored, but man, this game is an absolute slaughter, like, from both sides. Like, there's KOs on either side. I came in thinking that with the double siphoning wand and the more aggressive melee comp, that PPL would just get, you know, abused over and over and over again, but they're firing back. I mean, I still think there's hope for them here. They just got to figure out how to get these barriers.
Yeah, really going to be interesting to see how the Awakenings change things up here, as some of these melees can look to get a little bit tankier and avoid, you know, so many KOs going on both sides. Streak going to find one there, though. Hits him with the pendulum swing. And now it's going to be Fiery getting abused next, getting knocked in to that bottom left corner as the slash comes through from Int Overflow, and that's going to be an easy goal and an easy set for the side of Core Overflow.
Yeah, honestly, pretty good set overall for Core Overflow. They did give up a point, but it was a weird core flip. You know, the goalie was out of defenses. It's pretty hard to do, but let's take a look at this draft. And looking here, wow, okay, so this first glance might not seem like a lot, but there's Super Surge, which needs to be denied from Zentaro here. So I'm expecting the Estelle to be denying it here. We'll have to see, because if he can get it, oh wow, they let it through. So Gordor, I don't know if you know this, but Super Surge, probably Zentaro's best training in the entire game.
Yeah, against my better judgment.
Yeah.
Against my better judgment, I've been playing a ton of Zentaro, and yeah, Super Surge, that's everything you want in just one beautiful little awakening right there.
So yeah, and Estelle takes the big fish, obviously fairly good there. Elo having his peak performance was really nice. And another one that we actually didn't really talk about is Chrono Boost for the Era. And now Era, it was nerfed a little bit, but with Chrono Boost, which increases your, you know, your buff and debuff duration, that Era shrink, as we can see here on Int Overflow, that's 3.5 seconds about he was shrunk. It was around 3.1 seconds.
Death Touch nearly taking another KO there for Streak. He is fighting up against Average Alex here and winning those fights more often than not. Double Shrink comes through, but the Era, not how powerful she used to be. That duration a little bit lower, if I'm not mistaken. And now the pass down over to Int Overflow. They're going to be able to pick up a KO there in their own goal. Juliet off the board. Now Int Overflow wants to try to get some barriers for himself. The goal is already open there for the other side. They want to see if they can get something for the side of Core Overflow. But great defense from Maddie so far. Has just kept it at bay the whole way through. And they've already got the respawn back from Fiery.
Yeah, I mean, Core Overflow's lost both their barriers. Like, I don't really know how they're focusing so much on the damage, and there's the goal from Average Alex. Yeah, it was only a matter of time there. Like, they got both the barriers down. Core Overflow needs to stop clumping, and they need to really focus on getting these barriers down, because aggression's so good, but when no one's touching the core, what are you going to do about it?
I don't know, maybe getting a little too kill heavy here with the all melee composition, not going to end up managing to actually take out these barriers. They're going to get right onto him this round, though, as they do manage to take one out. Into Overflow, chasing the core around. Elo Heaven ready to receive the pass once it does come through. Barrier beam back in. There's going to be the opened up goal, and they're just going to throw down that Pathbreaker to make sure they are going to be able to set things up. They are moving in. They are going to get pushed back away, but they just push Maddie to the side, and they take an easy goal.
You know, I think they're listening to the stream. I think they heard me say it because they instantly got those goal barriers, and they realized that they have so much pressure, you know, they don't need to necessarily finish these kills. If the enemies on PPL side are staggered, they're not really being able to get into the play, or else they're going to get killed, so they can just take the barriers for free once that happens.
Yeah, no, great plays there coming out. That's how you want to play this sort of composition, and then super early KO ends up coming through once again. Yeah. Juliet playing a little bit with fire. PP Legend's going to be down a man now for the foreseeable future. Streak moving back up, going to look to keep that knocked on this side. Does deflect away from the core flip, and there's an open goal once again. Maddie already shattered, at risk of getting taken out here. Elo Heaven dives in. Easy goal now once again for Core Overflow.
Yep, and with the man down, I mean, PPL just struggled there. I believe Average Alex really needed to just come back and help out his goalie there. I think he was too focused on living himself, but Maddie was, if you saw his health bar, was extremely low as well, so pretty difficult for him to actually survive and save there. So he had to choose one, and he chose his life.
We'll have now a few extra tools coming in to what could be the last round in this set. And another super early KO comes through for Core Overflow. They've got themselves a successful recipe, and they are happy to replicate it round in and round out. Streak now keeping on this top side. Average Alex just getting bullied here, pushed farther and farther right with each and every ability, and eventually gets it scored into the other team's goal. Now going aggressive here is Core Overflow. They want to again try to take down this barrier.
Yeah, I mean, once the Centauro got Super Surge, and then now with Peak Performance on the Asher as well, she can move around a little bit quicker. It's just so hard for PPL. But as I say that, they're making offensive plays here. This is a goal opportunity. Can they get it in? Fiery hits it in there. Wow.
Nice knock in there with that fire punch from the side of Juliet, and Fiery going to be able to tie it up at 2-2. This is a chance to take a set here for PP Legends. You know, we called that one a fluke in the last round, but doing quite a good job so far in this one, even in the face of that Super Surge. Now Streak stepping up with the rest of the team. They want to see what they're going to be able to do. They do not want to give one back over. At that point, we'd be completely tied here.
Yeah, I mean, this is PPL's chance. They really need this set here, because I'm afraid if they go down 2-0, they're going to lose out on too many good trainings. And as I say that, Fiery with the KO, and they're just battling back here. They're not giving up, Gordo.
Yeah, Kai going to be able to actually just get both right there for the side of Fiery. Really great aggression there on the Juliet. But now open goal. Elo Heaven gets the chance to do the exact same on the other side. That long-range Lie Rush comes through from Int Overflow, going into the Oni Blade, but it's going to knock it back in the wrong direction. Streak, though, ready and rearing to defend. It's going to be these two midfielders here for the side of Core Overflow, trying to knock it in, and they get it. Int Overflow takes them up to 2-0.
Yeah, PPL got the man up in their offense. It looked like it was going great, but I think what happened is Maddie just stood up a little bit too far out of his goal arc, so he didn't have that knockback decrease, and he was almost staggered. So I believe what happened is the Asher just absolutely KO'd him off the map. So that was extremely good swing back from Core Overflow, not getting in their heads there. And the build different on the Asher. So I'm expecting here that Rasmus is probably going to take the prime time. Yeah, you can't let Estelle have the prime time. I expect an Aerial's coming in for Estelle, and then Zentaro can really go anywhere here. Extra special's great, and then quick strike on the Era. So nothing too crazy here. I think, honestly, Core Overflow just got pretty much everything they really wanted there. The prime time on their goalie, the build different on the Asher. Size trainings are just a problem on that character. So I'm expecting them to kind of take this home in the third set.
And even with Fire and Elo Heaven opting for that early spark, neither of them take the sparks that are available. Just kind of sending off that option, it looks like, or maybe just valuing the rest of these a little bit too highly, is the aggression from PP Legends, just opening up this goal super early. Fiery nearly knocked it in there, and all three staying grouped up, just trying to fend off this core however they possibly can, and they will finally manage to clear it.
Yeah, I believe Int Overflow actually went very aggressive there and all the way to the goalie and started using his abilities there. But, I mean, I believe what happened was Streak and Elo might have whipped a core or whipped a strike or two and then just lost all the goal barriers. But now all goal barriers down. It's an even game here.
Yeah, all hands on deck do manage to defend, and now it's going to be back aggressive on the other side. The Lie Rush, once again, so long range with the Super Surge, but Int Overflow can't quite manage to knock it in. Streak, well-placed pendulum swings, keeps this thing cleared for as long as he can, and continues to get the damage on average. Alex, there's the KO from Elo Heaven, knocks him into the topside blast zone, and now Fiery going to have to fend this off 1 versus 2, and it goes right past Maddie. Rose Warp, not enough. Another goal for Crow Overflow.
Yeah, that was a good attempt on Maddie for the save there, but I believe he just missed the angle, and it actually helped the core flip to go even further into his own goal there. So a little bit unfortunate, but yeah, Core Overflow, when they wake up, they're just so much pressure. Like, look at this damage on Fiery. There's nothing he can do about it, too. He has no energy.
Yeah, he's already shattered here with one more pendulum swing from Streak, and he's already KO'd there. Core Overflow, even with it on the other side of the board, they are going to be able to get themselves that man advantage and transition that right into getting the pressure back. Average Alex now going to be the next one. Going to get barrier beamed right off the top side just in time for Fiery to respawn, and nothing's getting any better even with the Juliet back on the board. Elo Heaven going to look for one more. Can't quite find it. A nice little elusive there, but Int Overflow going to finish the job. Gets the double KO, and the pendulum swing comes through from Streak once again. They are going to be able to open up the goal here, looking to go up 2-0 in what could be the match point set, and they are going to knock it in there. A nice combo from the two.
It's just a textbook on Demon Days. They're playing their aggressive comp to the T there. They're hitting every single time core, or a PPL, excuse me, tries to touch the core. They're getting smacked with 2, 3, 4 abilities, and they're losing all of their HP. So how can you play when your HP bar is gone every time you try to touch the core? They have to rely on Maddie to clear it, and he only has so many abilities.
Fiery.
I believe there's been a mic mute going on here, so I can take over here. Streak here. Let's see, Core Overflow actually with a man up here, and then Asher should be the double kill there. So Core Overflow here should just be taking this last goal barrier, and we'll see how they can approach. It's a lot of damage coming through on the side. PPL is just struggling to find a foothold here on the map, and this should be a goal with the core flip. Oh, a great save by Maddie, and then Streak just keeping it up to his forwards. Int Overflow back to Elo Heaven. The special coming in, and he forces it in. So yeah, that was honestly, like I was saying earlier, very, very, very textbook by the side of Core Overflow, and they pretty much just played their comp to a T, and I believe it was a bit of an outdraft there. And I believe
really.
Gordo's back here.
Yeah, I never really left. I was in the Discord, but it's trolling me a little bit there, yeah, so looks like I will.
Now, yeah.
If you can hear me now, we've made it.
We can hear you.
Good to hear. And wow, a dominant run there from Core Overflow. They do manage to take it on their other side, and wow, just completely overwhelming the side of PPL.
Yeah, and excuse me, take a look at the Zentaro damage there. I mean, and you look at the side of KOs, or look at all the KOs on the side of Core Overflow, and it was like 5, 6, and 10, I believe. Yeah, that is a total of, let's see if math, 21 KOs on the side of Core Overflow to the side of PPL's 4. So, how can play? I don't know. Seems like they're a little bit outdrafted there, Gordo.
Yeah, would definitely agree with that, given what we saw in that last round. Just not enough opportunities to really make anything happen. Their comp is so much squishier and really does just get bullied around by this triple melee setup that they end up going for. You know, might really end up coming down to those earlier rounds, too. It looked a little bit closer at the start, but, you know, once some of those really key awakenings started going over, it became harder and harder.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think on that map, you really have to play towards aggression. And if you look at the side of Corvuflo's character, the Zentaro, the Rasmus, the Asher, and after the Asher nerf, she's actually been seen as more of an aggressive character. You can't really just sit in front of the net anymore and expect the core to go in. You have to use your abilities, and you have to use that buff damage now to be, bullying the enemy. And that's exactly what he was doing.
Accomplishing a whole bunch as we are getting ready and rearing to go into match number 2 here. A lot's going to come down to the map selection, but what are you looking to see out of the side of PPL here to see if they're going to be able to pivot back and come back in round number 2?
I expect Corvuflo to be pretty much banning the Kai on repeat, and that's been Maddie's strong point, honestly, during solo queue and this entire split so far. And even though they're kind of 0-2 in the season, I believe that if he can get the Kai, it's just... It could be, there's always a chance, but I just don't expect them to get it. So what I think PPL need to do is play what they're strong with, right? Play what they're strong with. I think the comp they played wasn't weak. I just think on that Demon Deus map, it's a little bit harder to play. I think they need to look to ban a couple of the aggressive options as we're getting into Night Market here. So that comp that they just played is actually very good on Night Market, and I expect the Era to be utilized fully on this map.
Yeah, potentially a room to take Era on both sides here. We'll see what these bans end up being in just a second, but maybe will be a time to change something up here. Maddie is hovering that Kai. He wishes he could get it. Look like it's going to be an IME ban there from the side of Fiery and Co. And it is going to be that Kai ban once again for Core Overflow.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the Amy ban's very good. I think that character just does way too much damage right now, and Streak probably one of the best users of it in the net. So I think the Amy ban's pretty good here, and then we'll see if Maddie's actually hovering the Atlas here. So I think it's pretty good on Night Market. I just haven't seen Maddie's Atlas, so I'm excited to see this here, and the Era as well as we expected, as well as the Drakar, Asher, and then the Atlas mirror matchup here we have for Core Overflow.
All right. Going to be Atlas coming in for both goalies here, so maybe things changing up a little bit versus what we saw in that last game. And as you said, Into Overflow here on the Drakar, going to be facing off up against a little bit more of a traditional setup here from the side of PPL.
Yeah, and then already starting off with the barrier, so it's looking pretty good here. I believe that they'll feel a lot more comfortable on this map and with this comp. I believe that Fiery is an insane Juliet player, and then already with the KO. So like I said, really good start for PPL here. They just got to keep this momentum going and get a couple more of these barriers.
Well played, now going to have the numbers advantage, but Into Overflow sneaks it off onto the other side and manages to take out a barrier on his own, and he scores! One-on-one against Maddie, knocks it in there with that projectile.
Yeah, if you saw that there, Maddie actually, I think he kind of whiffed his strike shot there, and it hit it against his own wall in the middle back at him, so he had to panic there to try to make the last-minute save, but Drakar with the snipe.
Oh, wow, really good use of the Molten Bolt there from Into Overflow as well. Manages to just smack it in the last bit of the way, but again, Fiery in the 1 versus 2, getting a lot done, does manage to get himself one barrier, but it's now passed up to the top side, and it's Into Overflow, passed down to Elo Heaven, who does manage to get one of those barriers. You got to keep an eye on that center barrier as well, as they can knock back and forth, kind of go in unexpected directions. And now the knockdown from Fiery does manage to push it out, get some space on the bottom here, and now looking to knock it the rest of the way in. Nice defense from Streak, though, with the Cosmic Expanse.
Yeah, and then, as I was about to say the Iron Wall from Maddie, but he just, as I'm thinking it, gives up the last barrier, and now he's got to fully defend without any barriers. We really need Fiery and Average Alex to pick it up and get this last barrier here with a really good tornado into a core flip from Streak. And now they might swing it here, but as he gets it into Overflow, but Fiery gets KO'd.
Yeah, knocked back on the other side there. Numbers advantage now. Streak out of the goalie box, ready to step forward with these astral projections. Knocks it down into Overflow. One more shot in, and Elo Heaven's going to get it with the ultimate.
Man, watching Core Overflow is just like reading a textbook on Omega Strikers. There isn't one that exists yet, but I'd expect them to write it at this point because it's so beautiful to watch.
Great job passing between their forwards, and always able to just smack it on in there, find the angles in the goal, make it impossible for Maddie to be able to defend, but they are going to be able to have that numbers advantage once again as the knock on in and going to take down the top barrier. Bottom at risk next. Respawn comes through from Elo Heaven, seeing what they can do to pass on over to Into Overflow. They're going to take out one, looking for the second. Maddie playing defense on his own. Average Alex does come down to assist to the defense. Fiery's ended up staggered over on the other side.
Yeah, and if you look at this game so far, I think it's just coming down to the midfield presence. Like, really, average Alex has kind of been pretty lackluster so far with keeping that midfield presence, and it seems like he just can't keep the core out of the enemy's hands. Into Overflow doing a great job at just hitting it out of his hands with that shotgun, and Elo Heaven's just always in a dangerous position, so you can't let him be. Just like right there, and an amazing shove through with that passive.
Yeah, quick little duel goes in the favor of Elo Heaven, and that's going to be a 3-0 set here for the side of Core Overflow. Just a dominant performance in this matchup so far. Going to keep it going here with a 4th win in a row.
Yeah, and if we look at the trainings here, I expect Atlas to take the prime time. Atlas with Twin Drive, prime time, any extra abilities just makes the character a little broken. The other Atlas could take whatever he wants, but he probably should have... It's hard to say. Drakkar with Stinger is a little bit scary, so you could say that he might want to deny that. And then the Era with the build different deny as well. This whole draft, except for the first pick, is pretty much just denies. Except for the fact that Drakkar takes Stinger, peak performance again on the Asher, and then we have a prime time. So I expect Drakkar to just be shredding through these characters.
A really great awakening to get there on the Drakkar, and immediately going to just pump some shots in there, but taking a lot of damage himself. A nice res there from Streak with that Celestial intervention. Does manage to save Int's life, and now Int ready to get right back into the action, taking a bunch of damage for it once again, though, and is going to have to maybe play on the back foot for just a little bit longer, but still the volley back and forth. Elo Heaven managing to fulfill that midfielder duty, while Int Overflow maybe taking a little bit out of the action. Streak moving back up to pass it up towards the top side, and it's still just an aggressive look from Core Overflow the whole way through, even while their members are low, even while they're taking the damage. And Streak can kind of just sit pretty here on the other side, doesn't have to even get involved that much. Into Overflow with an easy goal.
And there we go. I mean, honestly, the Stinger didn't play as much of a role in there as I thought. He wasn't really putting out a lot of the damage, but he was just... Him and Elo, you can tell they've been playing together for a long time, because the passes and just the spacing in between them, they know exactly what each other are going to be doing. And then they know that their net is safe with Streak in the back foot, because, I mean, it's Streak and he's an Atlas with prime time, so there's no getting it past him. As we look back here to Fiery trying it, not quite.
And they do manage to get themselves one barrier, but that's more than they got in the previous round, so building up at least a little bit of momentum here. Now going to just get flipped back away. Nearly found an angle there, did Fiery, but going to be denied nonetheless. And now the pass on up. Lots of damage coming through onto average Alex, at risk of getting KO'd here. Just barely avoids the lock and load from Int Overflow. Now moving back on down, the heals do come through, but the barrier beam is enough. Elo Heaven takes one, but Fiery answers on the other side, and it's going to be a 2-on-2 on the court now.
Yeah, and I'm expecting the side of Core Overflow. Yeah, Streak's just going to stall this out. I mean, there's really no reason for him to throw it, but Fire with the flip, good ability usage out there to Streak just to deny it. And both sides now an even 3v3. One barrier for each of them as well. This should be a pretty good last bit of the set.
Keeping incredibly even so far. Wow, a last second save by Streak to protect that last goal barrier, and now moving back up. There's the two forwards once again. Elo Heaven just barely doesn't land it onto that corner. Maybe a little bit of a miss there to land it on the wall instead. Still trying to find their way onto the bottom one. They are going to open up the goal successfully, and this is where they have been dominant. Back and forth between them. It's been indefensible from the side of Maddie. But now pushing it back over on towards the red side of the court. They do have the ability to maybe keep this going, but they're down a member.
Yeah, well, oh, and Fiery answers it back, but Elo in the top wins. As I was kind of switching over, and I was thinking about what to say, just absolute mayhem ensued. I mean, if we saw there, we kind of recap. PPL actually gets another kill back to answer into the 2v2, but Elo Heaven with the perfect shot placement into the top corner there.
Getting so much done, and now Elo Heaven, again, just taking the lead, taking the front foot, passes it up to Int Overflow. One barrier already down. It's going to be a second one before too long, but they do manage to clear it out. Now it's in Streak's hands, but always just be so careful to guide that core exactly where he wants it. Make sure that it is going to end up in Int or Elo Heaven's hands. Streak has been so good at that so far in this match, and now going to be moving it back down towards the bottom side. They want to try to pass down and get onto this second barrier, but Fiery and Average Alex keeping it cleared out. Fiery in particular keeping up so much pressure here to make sure that it's not going to be a free ride here, but they're at risk of getting KO'd. They are going to have to go into elusive, and that's going to be an opening window here for Int and Elo Heaven to take over, to open up the goal, and to look to close on out this set. But it will get cleared out once again by Maddie, still buying a little bit of time. Pass down to Int, one more shot. Core flip back from Maddie to keep it alive. And it's so much difficulty here for PP Legends to get anything done. They do move it back onto Fiery and have now opened the goal for themselves. It's very close. The Astral Projection saves it for a little bit longer, knocks it back up, knocks it down to Int Overflow. Streak cannot let anything by him. There's the Molten Bolt again, clears it up towards the top side. There's the Barrier Beam again from Elo Heaven, the flip and the goal from Int Overflow.
What a round. Holy moly. I was on the edge of my seat there. Like, holy crap. I mean, amazing finish from Int Overflow there. A really good core flip, but Streak, just the iron wall. Like, nothing could get by him. Hitting into that top corner, like dodging every single ability, making sure that the Juliet ult could not finish it. That was just a masterclass. That was amazing. And if we take a look at these trainings here, honestly, there's not too much crazy to talk about here. I'm expecting, let's see. Jakar's probably going to cast the last. Yeah, nothing too crazy here. I'm expecting Streak to just take Orb Ponder since he does have the Orb build, which I do want to talk about real quick before this next round starts. He has a 10 stacked Orb Dancer, and I don't know if you've noticed, but whenever those orbs spawn, Streak is running forward, and Int Overflow and Elo Heaven are playing incredibly aggressive. Oh, and he actually doesn't take it. It was Maddie that took it, so excuse me. I'm surprised that Streak didn't take it, but I assume he just values the speed a little bit more.
Yeah, it feels like he...
Looks like the technical difficulties again. I apologize for that, so I'll try to take over as best I can. But Streak, like I said, just running forward, playing ping pong over here, waiting for Int Overflow and Elo to just kind of pick back up, and we'll see if PPL can make use here. Really, really good dash from Fiery here, kind of taking both the core barriers here. Streak has got, you know, he probably has to stay a little bit lower in the call here. Let's see. Streak, nothing deterring him yet. They may have lost both goal barriers, but it's still a goal open, and he's not going to let it through. Int Overflow and Elo Heaven need to get this last barrier here, and they do. So it's open goals now for both teams. We'll have to see who can get into the net first. Fiery is staggered. Really good core flip there to keep it out from Streak. We'll have to see if Elo Heaven and Int Overflow or Average Alex or Fiery in the forward duos can get it done first. Pretty good saves from Maddie. Great core flip from Alex. They're keeping it out. Lots of chances. A little bit scary on the side of PPL here. Core flip from Elo, down to Int Overflow. With Streak just keeping it out of Fiery's hands. Fiery's just having a tough time here making it work. Up over to Int Overflow here. I expect him to pass it down here. Hits it forward, Int Overflow and Elo Heaven playing together. The flip from Maddie. Streak just keeping it out of Fiery's hands. Once again, he cannot find the core here. Great save again, Int Overflow. He has core flip. We need to watch out for this. Into the core flip off the wrong angle and back down to Fiery. Back to Elo Heaven, back to Fiery. This is just mayhem this entire set. Streak is just the iron wall, and then a great save from Maddie, but oh, he can't keep it. The bad bounce, and Elo gets to stuff it in. Wow.
Oh, wait, I'm back.
Hey, perfect timing too. They just scored. I can also do play-by-play, I swear.
All right. Well, thank you for holding it down for me there, Borg. So we are back on here. It's going to be a 1-0 lead once again for Core Overflow. Now going to knock things in here for Elo Heaven. And we're just going to be another easy goal here. They were not holding up very long once I rejoined.
Yeah, I mean, they just made it easy for you so you didn't have to cast as long. But pretty much what happened there is Maddie kind of whipped a strike, and it seemed like there was just nothing he could do with Int Overflow and the pressure from Elo Heaven on that Asher. Just no way he can hold both barriers there.
Yeah, definitely getting a lot done. Now moving it back over on towards the top side. Going to be one match point, or on match point already, 1 point away from being able to close out the set and take a clean 2-0 here for the side of Core Overflow. And that is exactly what they want to find for themselves here to get themselves higher up in the standings. Passing it down to Int Overflow. Elo Heaven moving it down towards the bottom, wants to be able to get that last barrier. The flip back over from Streak, just playing up at midfield. They want to slam this one in. They want to finish off this series quick and easy. And they are using their goalie to be able to do it, passing it down to Int Overflow now. So much damage coming through onto Average Alex, but they have not yet been able to take him out. Going elusive to protect against the barrier beam once again. There's going to be a KO actually for the other side here. PPL coming alive at the last possible second, looking to see if they can get something into this goal. One more Witching Beam coming on through, but not quite being able to find the core and any other target. And now the respawn back here. Elo Heaven going to open up the goal. Dives forward, flip back over. Int Into Overflow can't hit it. Astral Projection from Streak, trying to get it in here, trying to close out the series. Just one more shot would do it, but it will go on for just a little bit longer. A nice Magical Maelstrom to get the numbers advantage back to the side of PPL.
Yeah, and I mean, a really good Era Tornadoes here, really good Maelstroms, just keeping it even, keeping them alive in here, but they still have to get that last goal barrier, Gordo. They really need, and they find it right here. Fiery, this is his chance to get it in, but Streak has just been so hard to score on here. And Elo Heaven and Into Overflow with the pressure, and then just shotguns it in right there. Yeah. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, just finding that last angle there. Into Overflow completes the series as he played it, constantly finding those angles. A masterclass showing there from Core Overflow. Textbook, as you said earlier, Borg. They close that series out very cleanly, not even dropping more than one set.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of life in PPL. You know, I don't think they played badly. I just think that Core Overflow I think they're the best team in the league right now. I'm going to say it. I really don't know if anyone can beat them at this point. We'll have to see until, you know, week 3 and week 4 what happens, but they're looking like they understand the meta. Their core control is absolutely key. They're not really dying that much other than a few kind of unlucky tornadoes on the side of PPL just kind of to take them out. But, man, that was just... It just seemed like a textbook play. I've been saying it the whole cast, but I sound like a broken record here. But, man, it's just... didn't feel like there was much PPL could do.
Yeah, getting so much done there. PPL going to drop down to 0-3, and going to be Core Overflow moving up to 3-0. We are going to pass it off to the analyst desk here. Kaz, take it away.
All right, welcome back to the analyst desk, guys. Right now I'm with Daftgrass here. I just want to say real quick, Streak, holy, my God, this Streak guy, he's insane. Especially on this Atlas character, he was holding it down, doing his barcode impression. So Daftgrass, what we say is the draft.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
We'll get there.
Yeah. Look. So Core Overflow. You know, against. I love Matty Branch, but you know what? They were completely outclassed in the drafts for both games. And starting off with this first one, you know, it is Demon Deus, right? So we have very standard kind of you want to play for kills, right? So let's look at what we have here. We have you know, rapid fire, spark of agility. It doesn't really matter too much. But when you look at the drafts, you have arrow with slick kicks coming from average Alex over here. They don't really have a lot of that midfield presence, right? Because you pick Juliet with this era, and it's like, okay, we're going to be able to shrink people, we're going to get our midfield presence through that way to keep it forward for the team. But it just doesn't matter on Demon Deus when you have Int Overflow over here on the Zentaro with the Siphoning Wand, and Elo Heaven with the Siphoning Wand too. So you get into these situations where they will try to play for core control, but it doesn't matter because you're just going to die. And Streak also is kind of able to enable his teammates because he is taking these pauldrons right here and is able to walk up on the field and able to kind of give some of that pressure for his team with that pendulum swing. And also they have so much kill confirm. When you look at Asher and you look at Streak playing this this Rasmus able to walk forward with that dash touch, with that pendulum swing, Elo Heaven having that Asher primary and the dash to just knock people off the edge. And I do have a nice lovely example for you here as I swap over on this. And so here's a great example of what plays out here as this round starts. So Elo hits the ball down, and now they're looking to kill Average Alex, right? Average Alex has no core flip bar. He has nothing he can do to evasive. So here comes that Zentaro ult. The Asher primary comes out too to try and do some damage. It does miss, so you get back into it here. And then there comes the dash, and here comes Zentaro primary, and then the dash from his built up meter underneath. And now Average Alex is walking up to the top of the screen right there. He gets hit by that dash, now is low, and now they have so much to work with. Is going to get hit by that core flip, and then he's going to get sent up to the top of the screen. And here comes the great part about picking Asher in this game, and one where you feel like you have so much confidence, you have so much ability to live. Here it is, as he's going to come up. Streak walking forward to try and deal some damage himself. Again, that enabling from Rasmus sends him up. And then here comes Elo Heaven with that Asher primary, one of the best confirms that you can get because it will send him straight off the map. And bonk, he's gone. And that is the complete difference between you picking something like this Asher Juliet, or sorry, this Era Juliet that doesn't really have as much damage output from Streak's team in this first game. And that is the reason why they did win that first game. However, it is a little different for this second game.
Absolutely, for the second game here, I wasn't seeing near as many kills from the second game. Could you explain that one, Mr. Daft?
So Core Overflow, completely different game, right? You see these starting awakenings. You have Monumentalist, and you have Dancer. Everyone loves Dancer. And now looking at the differences here, Streak taking the momentum boots off the start compared to Maddie, who does have that strike shot. And the difference between, you know, taking the strike shot and taking the momentum boots is that Streak with this Dancer is able to walk up so much farther than Maddie is able to. And again, when you're drafting this Era and Juliet, and now you're playing into a Drakkar, a little bit of a switch up there. No Zentaro, but you do got, no Rasmus, but you do have the Drakkar now for kind of that midfield pressure-ish. So Int Overflow is able to put so much pressure on Alex in this midfield, because when you're playing that Era, you really only have Beam and Tornado, and for the Beam, you're going to be wanting throwing it on Elo Heaven as much as possible, and they also have Atlas now. So even if you want to try and kill people, which is, you know, Fiery's taking the pummelers, so he's going to be even able to kill people, this Asher and Drakkar are really never going to die. And if they do die, it's because A, Atlas doesn't have ult up, or Julie decided to dash punch them off the edge, and you're really not going to be able to kill them. And I have a wonderful example as to what happens when we burn all of our cooldowns onto the enemy, and Atlas just has ult up. So here it comes as we start off the round, and now we're going to want to put pressure onto Int Overflow here. Does hit the core forward, is going to hit, you know, is going to hit average Alex, and there comes a dash punch and a beam. So that's three cooldowns we've burned on him, right? There comes the Atlas ult up from Streak. There's the ult. That's a fourth cooldown. And then here comes the Tornado to come and finish him off. But it doesn't matter, because Atlas ult is up. So we've burned a total of 5 cooldowns. 5 cooldowns for not a kill. And not a barrier. So that's really where our drafts kind of differ. And comparatively, the Drakkar is just able to push the midfield so much now. He's still alive. They're not playing for kills. They're playing for core control this game. And it works out for them in the end, as they do pick up a nice 2-0 victory over PP Legends.
Absolutely, I completely agree. And I just have to mention Streak again. Some of the saves he made were absolutely phenomenal here.
Yeah, Streak definitely did play the best game that I have seen on stream so far from him.
Absolutely. All right, we'll give it back to the casters here.